Today, Rinpoche emphasized the lack of intrinsic existence of person, showing that the person is neither one with or different from the aggregates, because if one was one with the aggregates, then he or she would be multiple persons, and if he or she was different from the aggregates, if the aggregates were removed, then he or she would still be there.
Oya ta lari nga su chibu chunga lari, chibu chimbi lari su, chibu chunga lari de dani chawdu dang nungi chibu tsuti, digi lari de laba su, tala den tabal duya, dani chibu chimbi lari de shanchu sen dang shindu, wa dani ibar, tala den sanjibi tsu, wa dani ibar.
So once again, we're looking at Lama Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, and this text encapsulates or summarizes all of the teachings that Lord Buddha gave, as well as the authentic Indian commentaries. So if we break that down, we find that there are 100 texts which are the pronouncements of Lord Buddha, and they are called the Kangjur, and those are right behind me, and 213 texts which are the authentic Indian commentaries, and they are called the Tengjur. So all of these texts are said to be summarized into the teachings for beings of three capacities. So this text, the great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment, is a summary of all of Lord Buddha's teachings in the authentic Indian commentaries by way of introducing them through the three capacities. So the first category is called the teachings shared in common with beings of small capacity, and these practices lead a being to the higher realms of cyclic existence. The cyclic existence is broken down into two categories, the higher realms and the lower realms. The higher realms consist of the gods, demigods, and humans, and the lower realms consist of animals, hungry ghosts, and hell realm beings. So the goal of the practitioner of small capacity is to achieve rebirth in any among those three higher realms of cyclic existence. He or she does so by practicing the following things: going for refuge to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha; engaging in ethical behavior that abandons the 10 non-virtuous activities; and acknowledging one's downfalls. So in dependence upon those practices, he or she is able to achieve higher realm rebirth. The next category of teachings is for a being who wishes to achieve liberation for him or herself alone, wishes to be completely rid of any among the 6 realms of cyclic existence and achieve nirvana. This practitioner engages in the 3 highest higher trainings of ethics, concentration, and wisdom, and in dependence upon those practices, he or she is able to remove the afflictive obstructions and achieve a state of nirvana, achieve a state of liberation. And this liberation is actually called enlightenment, but an enlightenment of the Hinayana enlightenment, or the lesser vehicle enlightenment, or nirvana. So this practitioner, though, has not removed the obstructions to omniscience, so he or she is not a Buddha. So the practitioner who wishes to become a Buddha engages in all of those practices and then couples them with the generation of the mind that aspires to enlightenment, and then from that place of bodhicitta, from that mind, because bodhicitta, when you look at the word in Sanskrit, bodhi is Buddha, and chitta is mind. So the meaning of it is that you're wishing, you have a mind that wishes to become a Buddha, that is solely thinking of being a Buddha. So it's actually a mind itself, and it's just its only emphasis is to become a Buddha when one has it. And the purpose of becoming a Buddha for this practitioner is for the sake of all sentient beings. So this is called bodhicitta, and the practitioner achieves that after developing the desire to emerge from lower realms and then developing the desire to emerge from cyclic existence altogether. And then this desire becomes attainable by practicing the 6 perfections once he or she has achieved this mind of Buddha, the bodhicitta mind. In independence upon those practices, he or she removes what is called the obstructions to omniscience and becomes a Buddha. Digsong Rinpoche.
jibi shugabadang, dabung tadebi shugabadang, de shu yin lama nachang, kebar jowadang, tala dene, kanza, juma tabo, chayu chulo, tambu ne, shiri chu de, daji so, do yungsu jobana, dame yinba, namba jola, dame do yungsu jena, jena yang daji, namba joba, jitena tongo, de, shiri jidam, tade dam, jidam doma la ponsu sewa yinde, daji dame, jidam, doma yinbe shiru, jidam doma yinbe shiru, shiri jidam, jimi niso, katang choba na, shirato, rangi ngoyo dhubi, jidam tade la yang, katang choba njoro, dedar na, da ganza la yang, rangi ngoyo dhubi, ngoyo nyeji dhubi, rangi yu na, jidam tade le menda yu, je dabon, dande, pongpo dang, ngoyo dhubi ji yin nam, ngoyo dhubi tade yin nyang do, jeba shawo, tala, thoma da dang, pongpo ni, rang yin ji do, zhu na, neba, ji shi yue nyang na, nanjur bi ji bi shu la, nanji gang yin yue ba, zewa shawo, dala, lupin sanji jang ji, neji song de, dadu mawa ten me batang, da mabu jowa tang, jinji jendo jowa wo, tala tangbo ne, dadang pongpo ni rangin jido, dena da kelang bi ten me do, pongbi nadang zang do, yu shete pena, dawa dang, ribong jen jino, dene, sashi yang song de, raji, nyedun bale, nyawan leba madu pe, dayo mayin, shebi tse, nyawan lenyi da ina, chwe da meba yin shezo, nyeba ne dabon na da raji jido, chu na kanza jila yang, pomo toma yoba jindo, da jang, mabu yoba njola, da ji le meba jindo, pomo na jang, jido nju yodo, njoba le jang, kete pomo da na, teshete, mayo da jang mabu njoro, she sonso, sonba, raji joje bale, kete pomo da ina, jidang jeba jento njoro she dang, raji nyedun bale, nyawan lenba, Nyawa Lampa da mayi, ne she Jungwa Tang, the Jungwa Tang jiba yin, she son so, she son de, ne, she son de, Nyawa Lampa ne, de, Pombola, Kora Shao, da, Keji Jawa Tang, jiba jendo, Jowa, de na, Chun Chana, de la Juba, Sande do, Chun Song de, Jawa Temba, Mase Badan, Le Sheba Chu So Badan, Le Maji Badan, Chebi Chuno, Tombune, Da Keji Ki Jawa Dan, Jina, Da Ranking Moyotubi Chiji Yimbe, Da Hashi na Raki Tsenichi, Susu Anjoro, Tata na, Ti Tuina Ngaje, Ne Ngaje Bo, Ngale no She, Shawa Chodo, She Masumba Jute, Ngale no Da Tang, Tumbi Dani, Rangi Tsinichi, Trubi Susu Yimbi Shete, Pena, Hejin Ji Chewa Temba na, Nga Chujin no, Chujin to Chudu Nyato, Matemba Jino, Tata Mayimba, Rangi Tsinichi, Jendu Chojang, Han Nyoyu Tunde, Shitemba, Mangina, Hejin Nyuwa, Chujin Ji, Temba Masiba la Mandayu, Jusen Guna, Teyang, Nyeba Mayino, Dene, Sanyu Ni, Rangi Ngu Ni Ji Trubi, Rangi Tuyang, Dena, Jundi Ni So Yang Da Jen Deba, Tendawa la Jundi Runa, Ne Mechile Jang, Meba Chewa, Juyu, Jenjun Gobe Rebadan Rade, Tadeba Tanshi Deba la, Tetere Gonyu Sheba Mino, Ona, Temba Tang, Ngale Nuni Do De, Chidu Temba, Nyana, Kande ne, Jujin Guba Yinche, Chidu Temba Mino, Tena Do Tele, Ti Tsena, Na, Chikamo, Tejen, Jenshi Yin, Nyana, Tetar Metate, She Somba Yinba, Leben Dayu Shoji, Jeba Yino, Tetar Sombi Ndola, Choba Kaji Nara, Sanji Dan, Tenaji, Huanji, Ji Senjen Nam, Ji Yin de, Dole ne, Huanzen de Dan, de Choro, Ji Teni Jido, Son La, Teyang, Duje Yina, Keji Ki, Jibi Jido, Maronyu, Sher, Teni Ga, Taba Wu She, Hanane, Huanji Tala, Nyambi Tawa Ngenba, Je, Kazawa, Tambu Yin La, Tengu Baya, Ngobu Ludu Je, Raje Dunba Le, Debi Tuna, Shunjur Je, Shunwa, Tene, Mateto, Hansun Desu, What's a nasu kanshon? Tenindene, Maino, Shesun, the Maina, Duachi Jan, Dua Rijuga, Jode, Tenajan, Ridu, Rutudo, Ribajido, Lulam, Besheda. Hajitana Jan, Tabiji him.
Kelo Rimshe.
Yeah.
The chair and the Kabiyare, the
Tabiji Misher, Tabiji Misher, Dejido, Hajit Dada, Raki, Trubi Soso, Debayan, Gaba Sunde, Nea Dala, Rajin Yenang Hashi, Tenam Iha, Tenayana, Ragan, Chitu Banjola, Tite, Tabanjoro. Yana Ragan Udru Tadi to Jula, Tite, Chebatawa, Juyu, Kebi Dala, Rajin, Kilamba Majao, Le Sheba, Chuseba Nebane, Chusa Nebane, Da Keji, Raki, Raji, Trubi, Chinji, Shena, Da Hame, Shebi Leji, Debana Sheme, Susu Yuan Dönane, ne Wudun Gube, Dene, Hake, Nasabi, Debunyuan Meba, Jude, Leshebi, Dan Debu, Manu Gondo, Shibi Shedan. Da Jen, maybe Sir. Teyan, Hashi, Ngobula Ranking, Jedu Juba, maybe Hamale, Tatebi, Shimi Da Mela, Hame Jan Debu, Manuna.
the Yabudu.
Hame Jan Debu, Manuna. Nyua, Magoba, Juji Himbe, Lanjan Wodo, Gube na, Lesheba, Chuseba Ju, Mua Manuso,
Decent.
Wakale,
Decent. Touche.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are on page 289, chapter 23, the person lacks intrinsic nature. Showing what the example illustrates. This discussion of what the example of the chariot illustrates has two parts. The example illustrates how the person lacks intrinsic nature, and two, the example illustrates how the person that is established under various names. Number one, the example illustrates how the person lacks intrinsic nature. This section has four parts. First, the refutation of the position that the self is one with the aggregates. 2, the refutation of the position that the self is different from the aggregates. 3, how those arguments also refute each of the remaining positions. And 4, how the person appears like an illusion based on that refutation. A, the refutation of the position that the self is one with the aggregates. In the general case, we see in the world that when a phenomena is mentally classified as unaccompanied, it is precluded from being unaccompanied, and when it is classified as unaccompanied, it is precluded from being accompanied. In general, therefore, same and different, as well as single and plural, eliminate any further alternatively. Here, let me get this better. Alternative, because the unaccompanied and the accompanied are respectively single and plural. When you resolve that in general something must be either one or not one, then you will also resolve that for the particular case of what exists essentially, it must be either essentially one or essentially different. So, if a self or a person existed essentially or intrinsically, it could only be one with its aggregates or different from its aggregates. Hence, a yogi analyzes thinking, is this self essentially one with the aggregates, or is it essentially different? At first, the yogi looks for something that would contradict the position of oneness, thinking, if self and the aggregates were established as intrinsically one, What could contradict this? Buddhapalita gives 3 arguments that contradict that position. 1, it would be pointless to propound a self. 2, there would be many selves. And 3, the self would be subject to production and disintegration. To elaborate, 1, the self and the aggregates were held to be intrinsically, if the self and the aggregates were held to be intrinsically one, then there would be no point in asserting a self because it would be identical to the aggregates, like the moon and the rabbit bearer. Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise also makes this point. When there is no self, except for the appropriated aggregates are the self. In that case, the self that you propose does not exist. If the person and aggregates were intrinsically one, then just as one person has many aggregates, one person would also have many selves. Or just as there is no more than one self, there would be also one aggregate. These are the fallacies given in Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way. If the aggregates were the self, then since there are many aggregates, the self would also be many. Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise states, if the aggregates were the self, then the self would be subject to production and disintegration. And 732, what is appropriated is not the self, they arise and disintegrated. You should understand that what is appropriated here refers to the aggregates. Quam, when fallacy is there in holding that the self is subject to momentary production and disintegration, what fallacy is there in holding that the self is subject to momentary production and disintegration? Reply, Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way and explanation of the Middle Way commentary give 3 fallacies in this position. Recollection of past lives would be untenable. 2, actions done would perish. And 3, you would encounter the effects of actions that you did not do. To elaborate. 1, if the self arose and disintegrated moment by moment, then since the self would be essentially arising and disintegrating, former and latter selves would be distinct in their intrinsic character. In that case, the Buddha would not have said, in that life at the time I was King Mandatar, and because the self of King Mandatar and the self of the teacher would be distinct in their intrinsic character. For example, it would be like Devadatta trying to recall his past lives and mistakenly remember I became Yanjanadatta. Otherwise, they're 2 separate people. Otherwise, if you argue that it is not contradictory for earlier experience to be remembered by a latter self despite the former and latter selves being different in their intrinsic character, then you would have to explain why the situation is different from Yajanandatta's not remembering Devadatta's experience. However, you cannot find a rationale for this. This is similar to the argument that refutes production from other, to the assertion that seed and seedling exist essentially or intrinsically, yet different as cause and effect. We reply, if it were possible for such intrinsically different phenomena to be cause and effect, then even a flame would produce darkness. This does not wipe out the assertion that seed and seedling are merely different. Did the sutra teach the teacher and Mandahara are one? The passage refutes otherness of continuum but does not teach that they are one. According to Chandrakirti, this is why the sutra ends by saying, do you think that the person in that lifetime was someone else? Do you look at it that way? Some who are mistaken about such sutra statements hold the following position. The Buddha and those living beings from his earlier lives are one. Saying, I, in an informer lives, became this being. Saying, I, in a former life, became this being. The sutra means that those 2, the Buddha and the earlier beings, are one and the same. Also, since anything that is compounded disintegrates moment by moment, and hence cannot be the same, both the Buddha and those earlier beings are permanent. Of the 4 wrong views based on theories about the past, this is the first. Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise refutes it. I was born in the past is an untenable claim. It is not this very person who was born in those earlier lives. If it were as such the person's claim, then one rebirth would turn into all 6 rebirths, because living beings take up their respective bodies in 6 types, and the former and latter persons would be permanently one. Nagarjuna also refutes the assertion that former and latter persons are essentially distinct. If the self had an intrinsic nature, then former and latter selves would either be essentially one, which would entail eternalism, or else they would be essentially different, which would entail nihilism. Therefore, the learned should not assert that the self has intrinsic nature. Actions done would perish. Some claim that if the self was in each moment arising and disintegrating by way of its own intrinsic character, then the latter selves would still enjoy the effects of the actions of the earlier selves. I refute this assertion in that 3 below. So here I argue that if this were the case, there would be no experience of the effects of previously accumulated karma, because the self that is the agent of an action would disintegrate prior to the experience of its effect, and there would be no other self to have such experience. Since earlier and later things are not essentially different, there is no latter self that is essentially different from the former. If the effects were not experienced by the earlier self, then the effects must not be experienced. I refute below the reply that such former and later selves are the same continuum. Hence, you cannot escape the fallacy that actions that were performed would perish. So these are all consequences to believing the wrong thing. So you would encounter the effects of actions that you did not do. Some claim that although the earlier self disintegrates, the latter self enjoys the effect. Okay, let's go. I want to see where we are. Since earlier and later things are not essentially different, there is no later self that is essentially different from the former. If the effects were not experienced by the earlier self, then the effects must not be experienced. I refute below the reply that such former and later selves are in the same continuum. Hence, you cannot escape the fallacy that actions that were performed would perish. Geshe Rinpoche.
Lema Jeba Tribi Nebana. Kete ngami da ki chang da shi chang da shemen debo la long xue be sheba chu xue be jue me do nyana da na le di debo nyu jube le jongze jang masabe kanza yen shi je kanza yen je sabe le jindebo longxue ba jude rangi ngoyo jube kanza yen je sabe debo la tadang rangi ngoyo tatebe da kanza yen je long shebe shero tata yang jubale nyangan de ngun keji nyela ne jinji shebo me ba tende me yen je sala yen je sawa juro she son jubale jen son yang son me jang randu kone deba goba tanshin der tumo do goba debe makodo reba tani jang raje nye dunbale keten dene jen ju na temen bayan yongwan juro tejin dene nanjur shin tema shewa jewa juro che dan le dan chu sawa yenji shebi le dan ne yenji susu nyungwa dan tala suba tawa juro she son de le chu sawa so nyebo dawa trape goba wo kete dene yenju na sheba ne ngwaji tsiroji duji tatayi dani rangi mu tate na sheba wo tata na hamala jeyang ramalebe hama tala tenba meba jowa dan bomba shebi tse thamban jiba tara la shima jewa na hama Manjiba, Neba Joa, Har Majiwa, Der Jawanjo, Jawanjo Shebi, Tono, Kete, Jawangashi, Jawashi, Danam, Ragi, Ngutubi, Susua Yang, Lechu Suba, Lechu Subadan, Majibatan Tribi, Jumete, Jujibi, Yimi Shena, Deyan, Ranking Ngutubi, Susua, Maimbe, Drugubatan Rate, Ranking Ngu, Tatena, Jujibayan, Matete, Pena Shambatan, Nyebejino, Tatayan, Jubale, Tini, Juna, Jumena, Hana, Jute, Jula, Nyeshin, Shesonshin, Ha, Jeter, Juba, Tinile, Majuba Tinile, Shamba Nyebela, Ten Chujin, Ten Chunam, Jenny Shena, Juji Tumite, Ne Gandaran Teniji, Sosoa, Tata Juji Tuba Remai, She Ranki, Teni Sosoa, Juna, Jutateba, Ni Jindo, Jujido, Jado Mabayino, Raji Nidumba Lejan, Kete, Hamjena, Jun Teba Manjuro, Sheso, Dona, Rangangu Dubi, Jenina, Yensu Jubi, Rebe Jesudo, Dogula, Reba Tendayu, Shido Jebana, Yam, Jebana, Jesubi, Mabudutan, Mebe, Rangangu, Tatebi, Hamasabi, Hamesabi, Leji, Shime Nyona, Jutatebala, Layan, Gune Tombe, Iwa Manubi, Dendai, Nago Jidu Shiba, Jeshi, Ona, Haduji Nyogantan, Shiduji, Nyokani, Jimayimbe, Rangi, Lula, Tateba Nido, Nyuan Tembatan, Sabi, Leji, Debo, She, Longsheba, Mate Doshena, Jumete, Dene, Jujibala, Mangela, Jujiba Yimbala, Mangela, Jenji Lula, Jujiba, Moro Shiro.
Yabudu.
Yeah.
That's. Okay, easy. You would encounter the effects of actions that you did not do. Some claim that although the earlier self disintegrates, the latter self enjoys the effects. Hence, the fallacy of wasting actions that were performed does not arise. If this were the case, then a person could enjoy the effect of karma accumulated by another person, even without accumulating the slightest karma capable of causing the experienced effect. This is because, according to you, the effects of karma accumulated by an essentially existent person are experienced by another, essentially different person. This idea of oneness. Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way states, prior to nirvana there would be no karmic effects, because agents that arise and disintegrate in the very moment of an action would not exist to experience its effect. Each person would get what others accumulated. Chandrakirti mentions 3 other fallacies, but they seem to refute only the assertions of other Buddhists. Since I am advancing a general refutation, I will not give them here. Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise also gives those 2 arguments. If this self were different from that of an earlier self, it would arise even without the other having existed. Likewise, the earlier self could remain there in that life without that self dying. This self could be born. there would be absurd consequences, such as the severing of the continuum, the wasting of actions, and each person experiencing the effects of actions performed by others. This gives the two fallacies that Chandrakirti uses, the wasting of actions and the experiencing of the effects of actions performed by others. The phrase, if this self were different, means if the self of an earlier lifetime and the present self were essentially different. If this were the case, then since the present self would not in any way rely upon the self of the earlier life, it would arise without depending upon the former self. Also, just as a cloth does not disintegrate when a pot is created, the former self would remain without disintegrating when the latter self was born. We could be born here in this life without dying in our earlier lives. This is what that passage means. Objection. The selves of former and latter lives are essentially distinct, yet these fallacies, that actions would perish and that you would encounter the effects of actions not done, do not arise because there is a single continuum connecting the selves of different lifetimes. Reply. It is not established that the selves within a continuum are distinct in their intrinsic characters, so it seems that you will have to prove it. It is not tenable for things that are essentially different to constitute a single continuum. For example, it is like Maitreya in the Upagupta, as Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way states. If you claim that there is no fallacy in a continuum that exists in reality, I already explained the fallacies of such a continuum when I analyzed this above. And how it was analyzed, that same text states, because the phenomena aggregates associated with Maitreya and Upagupta are different, they are not included in one continuum. It is not reasonable that what is distinct in its intrinsic character should be included in a single continuum. If phenomena are distinct in their intrinsic character, then like two different continua, they are not to be posited as a single continuum. Also, the 27th chapter of Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise says, if a human and a deity were different, it would be untenable for them to be a single continuum. In short, whatever is essentially other must be asserted to withstand analysis by reasoning that analyzes the way that it exists. There is nothing, not even the slightest particle, that withstands analysis when such reasoning analyzes it in detail. Hence, if a latter self experiences the effects of karma accumulated by an earlier and intrinsically different self in the same continuum, this cannot be distinguished from the completely parallel case of selves that are in different continuum. You must realize that this argument applies in all cases! Exclamation point. Quam. Since this is the one who experiences in a past life and the one who remembers in a latter life since the one who experiences in a past life and the one who remembers in a latter life are not the same, the recollection of earlier experiences and the enjoyment of the effects of previously accumulated karma are untenable even in our own system, just as the case of persons of different continua. Reply. We do not incur that fallacy. For, in the systems of others who do not assert essential existence as it does work for the experiencer and the rememberer to be in the same continuum, but in our system it is not contradictory for them to be in the same continuum. For example, let me just make sure where we are, 736. Oh, that's it. Berna, for example, is where we left off. Okay, perfect. Diksong Rinpoche. Berna.
Berna shui gang yu, kamba na nebi tu, zali shebi ting na, nebi peran jayu kamba shui na to ma ju jang, ti kanji, ter mi ba jin to, sendi kanza ki jawa kami tu so, sendi kanza ki jawa kami tu so, ma xin jang nga ji nyuwa na denda tenpa yang mengi de jejabi dreba le judan drebo ta tenyi ta chi to toba pongshin ne juyi chebaji sewa joba nuji ji juyi mataba kuna dena ne ti nyeba nyewa lemba jen taba yoba daki jawa jesu teno shesha reso ngobo na rangi tini ji Marubate, Danala, Naba, Tatabi, Chen, Yawara, Jaba, Yawar Haba, Yobata, Jen Dunjuna, Jen Dunjua Yi, Meriba Maide, Tisher, Mabo Rangi, Chenji, Marubi, Jujen Shayi, Cheba Sanji, Machaba, Yonso, Taba Wo, Dadar, Danjin to Shu, Kambi Nana, Neba Ta, Tola Zai, Chemo, Yoba Tina, Nebi Per, Jayu Kanji, Mi Merjan, Ti Kamba, Shubane, Chenejan, Siba Maino, She Son de, Jiba, Jubale, Tawa Shawu, Tata, Jumi, Tula, She de, Dabon, Jido, Juba, Dabon, Jido Jubala, Raji, Yedubale, Nyawanleba, Jetabo, Nyawanleni, Mayin Juro, She Somba, Dene, Nuji, Chembo Yino, De la Kanzande, Lune de Lanso, She, Tanya Shebe, Pombone, Nyawanleba, Shawa Yinla, Dan Nyawanleba Bo, Teni Jido, Dena, Shayu, Shiledan, Shebabo, na Jidun Ju, Na Jobabo Dan, Jeja Dan, Bomba Dan, Zaken, Zaken, Medan Peshin, Gante, Mayina, Shebabo na Lejin Juro, Medan Shingi, Dadan, Nyawanleba, Rebakun, Habon Sodan, Lenjito, Maluban, Shib, Nabarashi, Chedan, Juba Lejan, Lamber, Nyawan Lenji, Ringwemi, Tata Le Shebabo, Jinin Juro, Tata Na Le, Shebabo, Jinin Juro, Sheso, Tata Na, Da Pombodan, Jihina, Dadu Kilamba, Turmeba Dan, Da Mabujoa Dan, Shawala, Shawatan Shebabo, Chidun Joa Dan, Le Sheba Chu Soba Dan, Majeba Dan, Cheba Dan, Jawa Treba, Si Somba, Mateba De, Chu Yebe, Chido, Kilaba, Majau.
Yabudu. Dixon.
Yeah.
Dixon. Nipa Kadu. Okay. 1 second. For example, if a dove has been on the thatched roof of a house in which there is a container of yogurt, one can see its footprints there in the yogurt, even though its feet did not enter the container of yogurt. Similarly, the person of this life has not gone back to a former life. Yet it is not contradictory that such a person should remember experiences there. Chandrakirti's commentary on the 400 stanzas states, "We dispense with any notion that causes and effects are the same or different. If there is only an impermanent stream of conditioned factors brought about by their particular causes, then it is reasonable to say that the imputedly existent self that appropriates that stream of factors remembers its lives. Things do not exist by way of intrinsic character. It stands to reason that they encounter various conditions and are changed. Therefore, you should carefully examine the astonishing fact that things have causes that do not exist by way of their intrinsic character. Inside a house, you can see in a container of yogurt as though it were in wet clay. the footprints of a dove that have been on the heavily thatched roof, yet the dove's feet have not been at all entered the container. Look in Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way for an extensive treatment of this point. For example, we will explain the implications in ordinary language. The claim that the self is one with the aggregates is completely demolished by Nagarjuna's challenge. How could the appropriated become the appropriator? Since we use the conventional expression, this person's took up this body, the aggregates are the appropriated and the self is the appropriator. If you say that those two are one, then object and agent would be one. Hence, cutter and what is cut, pot and potter, fire and fuel, etc. would also be one. Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise states, if fuel were fire, then agent and object would be one. The entire process is explained for the self and the appropriated aggregates, using fire and wood as analogies, along with pot and cloth and so forth. Also, Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way states, it is clearly not right for the appropriator to be one with what it appropriates. If it were thus, then object and agent would be the same. Thus, if the self were one with the aggregates, there would be 6 fallacies. It would be pointless to assert a self. There would be many selves. Object and agent and object would be one. Actions that were performed would perish. The effects of actions not done would be encountered. And the statements by the Buddha about remembering past lives would be invalid. So do not assert that the self and the aggregates are one. Nipa lesson. Dene nipa dets lo, dene ngatsu triwa dan lenja. The nipa tadebi.
Nipa tadebi shugaba ne. Chede da dan pomuni raje ji mahim raje tateba dona jewe nyana. Dene raje juje bale kede pombo da na le jen pombi chenye meba joro. Shebe chun son so, tala da pombo le, ngoyo drubi tate bando na ne, pombi chenyi jiba dan, chenji neba dan maden banjo de, pena, balan le jenbi druba, balan ke chenyi dan, denba meba jino. Tata yime nyana wana dado tanya doba jidan dado zembi yud mende duyi yimbi shir bina naki matu dan matu kan nyanga lende bajin no nyanga lende bajin shi jendaji
Georgiade.
Jendaji Juan Shade Cesele son so da chenji ki chenji dan medena tabanjola ti se tabanjoa mebi mebala chen sha mebe dado taba mebanjode ne jodu kanya Maron ishere she leben sanji janji sonso yen pombi chenyi zoso ruan le zoso ruan so le yen ranjin tateba yena tatato mi gwede pena zodan sen tadeto meba jino te taran zimbayan mena zodan sen tadeto meba jino te taran zimbayan mebe da tunjendo mebe raji nyelba le da nyewan leba le jendo teba mayini kete jena ne meba ne zo rina zondome ke dan juba le jan teshe pombo le jen da mente pombo matu danzi mandu shir, she son so, te na, mati ba na, pombole tuen jenbi, da rundo ba ne, da metan do matu shin, pombo dan chi yinba yang, mate ba ton ne, chotayi, wang ki, rundo ba yin je, dada ki ju je, tanyebe sheba, rangawa te tar, tonwa me no, te tabi riba na je, da pombo le rangi, wang tade to, yoba la nuen je, tongyu, nyeba, ten nye do, yangwa sha de, jidan tade be, shu denye la, nuen je je nyeba, nada maruna, kanza rangje meba, ta je jang, dangja zang do, ruyu, tawa nada, menye be shiro, te tar, kanza te tar, te kona nye tu, zhu ma zhu, jeban dwe ne, kanza te kona nye tu, pongpo dang, jidan tade, jeba she de, jidun dwe na, nuen je, tato ba me dang, peshin la subi, sheba pa dang le jidu, jowa, dendawa na, yin la, tada jidun dwe na ne, jiden, tongyu tsama, de, ne, ga gu ji, ne, gu shigu ji, chuta, tumo mahimba na nyeje do, manju yishiro, tejin do, tade dun dwe ba la yang, tata yue na, zu dang, sen jin do, susur tong go ba le, tata ma tong yu, she la, ranga yu, sheba ranga yu, menjimbi, nyeje, de tuenje, chuta tumo mahimbi, nyeje do, manjuro, tena, takona nye la jubi kausu yang, nyeje tatubi, tawa ne, gu shigu ji yuji, tanyebi, sheba nyoba meba la, tuba yinbi, teni kausu, jiden nyoba me, she songba yang, han sheba tar, takona nye la tsama yinme, sheba yinji, takona nye la jubi kao nyi so, kao nang so, tanyebi sheba, nyoba meba nam, nyeje do majeba, me de, tata mahi na, susu deba, tumo mahi ba nam, nyeje do, tensa menjin, loyang ke, melenba, tatu yola, ke lamba na jang, changen la matunbi, dana ribi, dru guna, riba yin jishi dun, paru ke lamba la, de ke lana, de yang ke lang gu so she, sheba dan de ke melen na, de yang ke melen ji dun ba yang, de da yinbi, jusen ji riba meba ji tala ngaba she, riba meba ji tala ngaba she, tena nyeje dan, roje ji tawa, tatu ba na, gu shigu ji tanyebi, sheba neba meba la, tu ji, tadang gawa ke lana, rangi ngu neba tong yu, tele mandawa ne, oma ba tangje ji lo yi no, tata na,
Nyepi sheba.
tata na, sheba nyi ji, rangye ji meba la soba, ruba, ju yu me do, da sheba yimba ngonsong ji zhu jiang ma da ba ngonsong do zhu mo go ba yin de do na zhu ji dang zhu ja dang zhu ji zawa ta to ba ngonsong la tu jiang za yu zhu ja ngonsong ji zhu ka la gu song ba de
Rimche, this go.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
symbol
yeah.
the ngisha. Then in gatsu chua dan lanja.
or
Okay.
Yeah.
Yadu. Gangisin the yabulsha. Okay, so just 1 second here. Did I leave off at 2 or B? Yeah, the refutation of the position that the self is different from the aggregates. Okay, I would say, right. Do not assert that the self and aggregates are one. The refutation of the position that the self is different from the aggregates. Question: the self and the aggregates are not intrinsically one, but what fallacy is there in asserting that they are intrinsically different? Reply: Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise states this the fallacy in this. If the self were other than the aggregates, it would not have the characteristics of the aggregates. If the self were essentially different from the aggregates, it would not have the aggregates' characteristics of arising, remaining, and disintegrating. For example, a horse is something other than a cow, and so it does not have the characteristics of a cow. If someone still thinks this, take from Kirti's clear words, this syllogism, based on what others accept. The aggregates cannot be the basis for the conventional imputation of a self, and cannot be objects apprehended as a self, because the self is non-composite, like a flower in the sky or nirvana. If the self did not arise and disintegrate, then it would be permanent. Since there is no way to avoid the implication that the self would be permanent, it would be pointless to impute a self, because, as Buddha Palita points out, it would be impossible to engage in virtue or turn away from non-virtue. Furthermore, if the self had an intrinsic nature different from the defining characteristics of the 5 aggregates, each example being suitable to be form, then this would have to be evident, just as form and mind, for example, are observably different. Since the self is not apprehended in that way, it has no other meaning apart from the characteristics of the aggregates. Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise says, it is just not correct for the self to be other than the appropriated aggregates. If it were other, it could be apprehended without the appropriated aggregates, yet it is not. Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way says, therefore there is no self other than the aggregates, because without the aggregates it is not apprehended. Non-Buddhist philosophers not realizing that self is a mere name, and yet seeing that it is untenable for it to be one with the aggregates, superimpose a self which is something other than the aggregates as a matter of tenet. However, the ordinary conventional consciousness in their mind stream do not see it that way. You should repeatedly practice so as to reach solid certainty that arguments such as these contradict the existence of a self that is essentially different from the aggregates. For if you do not develop genuine certainty about the critique of the position of one and different, then even though you may decide that person lacks intrinsic existence, it will be just an unproved proposition. Hence, you will not obtain the authentic view. Seeking to analyze whether the person exists in reality, you should analyze whether the person, if existent in reality, would be one or different from the aggregates. If the person were one with the aggregates, then there are conclusive criticisms, such as the implication that agent and object, e.g. fire and fuel, would be one. If the fire and fuel are held to be one, you must use mundane valid cognition to refute that position, a tenet that is not shared by both parties. It is an effective critique. Likewise, there is an argument to the position that the self and the aggregates are different, and if they were essentially different, then like form and mind, they would have to be seen as separate, yet they are not. This is presented in terms of non-apprehension of such a difference by ordinary consciousness. Unique tenets are not an effective critique. Therefore, even when you analyze reality, the final basis for any critique derives from the unimpaired conventional consciousness in the mind streams of both parties. The passage from Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way, the world has no critique in the context of reality, indicates, as explained above, that worldly consciousness consciousnesses are not valid cognitions of reality, but this is not to deny that unimpaired conventional consciousnesses can give evidence of contradiction in contexts where reality is under analysis. For if they could not, then there would be no basis from which to critique the unique claims of others. There are various positions on the use of scripture in debate. Some accept it and some do not. Among those who accept it, there is a different disagreement about what requires interpretation. Hence, you must use reasoning to prove things. And what other kind of reasoning can you use? To the assertions of the other party, you can say, if you assert this, then you must also assert that. And if you do not assert this, then you also do not assert that. But how can there be certainty without a reason that is derived from shared conventional experience? Therefore, when you trace all roots and probative and critical arguments back to their source, you arrive at the unimpaired conventional consciousness of the two parties. If someone asserts something that contradicts these consciousnesses, then both parties will see that their experience refutes it. As this is so, the system of the Madhyamikas and Pramanikas is not to go beyond this. Nevertheless, we avoid the fallacy that conventional consciousnesses would establish the absence of intrinsic existence and such. It is similar to the case of perception and establishing that sound is a product, yet not necessarily establishing that sound is impermanent. In brief, the ultimate root of probative and critical argument derives from perception, but it does not follow that perception must establish the root of the probandum. Questions? Anyone? And obviously, this is assuming you know the tenet systems, so if there's a question about this, it might not be able to be answered quickly, but do ask questions about applicable things to your practice as well. Dan.
Rinpoche, my question is about how to apply bodhicitta as well as compassion in the context of reflecting on emptiness and how to unify the two. It is understood that in order to overcome the obstacles to omniscience, you must have bodhicitta, which also includes compassion. So it means to me that you have to apply not only a correct view, but also a correct heart. And so is it correct to say this? And also, how do you unify the two in your practice?
Rinpoche, the te chen, the semche yingu, shanchuje sem gu. The shanchuje sen dang doni dupi sherap nyamdu, ni cha gu. The ne kongi triwa, the doni dupi sherap, the doni dawa, dan semche. Kandre the nyamdu gom. The nyamdu gon ja gua. The ngatsu ninji yuna. The te chempa. The ninji yuna semche yuna. Then semche dan ninji the doni dopi sherab drawa yurube. Kongi chiwa. The drawa yurube. Then nyansi len kandre. Less. Judre. The ninji chempo, the ladene, the doni dopi shira yon.
O the yonsi rota.
Garishine. Less so. Then the ninji sum senchen la mipi ninji chula mipi ninji then mime la mipi then the mime the detsi shirona gangen sena the drawa the kongi chiwa the ninji dang toni drawa the nyamsu len kandre. Then there.
That's a gentleman,
Less so.
Sejen Dungan now, Zogo Maro.
Less so.
Sejen Dungan now, Mazobi, he did the Jayundu, Sejen Dungan, Mabazuage, 터지 속으로
Less so.
터 돈이 도 베시로 라고 요 말어
Less so.
된 돈이 더 돈이 공 그랬대 내가 대차는 그랬어
Less so. So, when we look at these various topics of compassion, bodhicitta, and emptiness, they're connected in various ways and utilized together also. So, compassion is the cause of bodhicitta. So when we look at cause and effect, there's a cause and effect relationship between compassion and the mind that aspires to enlightenment. There are different types of compassion. There's compassion that observes sentient beings, compassion that observes phenomena, and compassion that observes the observationless, it's called, or that which can't be observed. So what that means is the compassion that observes what can't be observed, basically, is the highest form of compassion, and that is, the first level is a compassion that sees the sentient beings and their suffering. The second kind sees the sentient beings suffering, but their impermanence as well. And then the third kind sees the sentient beings and their suffering as an emptiness. So the reason that emptiness for the bodhisattva becomes necessary is because with only bodhicitta, with only love and compassion, the method side, one's not able to become a Buddha. So one's goal as a bodhisattva is to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings, in order to be able to, without handicap, help in by way of his or her omniscience. So he or she recognizes that the wisdom realizing emptiness is the other part, the other side of the practice that is indispensable and necessary in order to become a Buddha. So then that encourages he or she to investigate emptiness. But when one is practicing bodhicitta, or compassion in union with emptiness, one would recognize that he or she wishes to become a Buddha in order to free all sentient beings from suffering, to bring all sentient beings to a state of Buddhahood. But that practitioner at that moment would realize that he or she is empty of true existence because he or she dependently originates. His or her bodhicitta is empty of true existence because his or her bodhicitta dependently originates. The object of his or her bodhicitta, all sentient beings, are empty because all sentient beings dependently originate. So that is how you would unite compassion and bodhicitta with the wisdom realizing emptiness. You would recognize that your compassion, your wish to have person A be free from suffering and its causes, the suffering is empty, the wish is empty, the person wishing it's empty, the sufferer is empty. So that's how you combine those two, where it becomes a wish that is understands the nature. So that's how.
Geshe Rinpoche.
One of the examples they kept referring to is that fuel and fire are different, which isn't really true in their essence, right? It's like ice and water, fuel and fire. It's just a phase state change of the energy, right? Really, when you talk about what they are, there's just heat added to the wood that causes it to change into fire.
But the wood can't change into fire without an accompanier.
Right.
So it's
It's
not the nature, it's not the same nature then, because it requires something else added to it in order for it to be converted. So that fire dependently originates. Fuel is its cause. It's probably fuel, you would say, is because there's different kinds of causes, would be its direct cause. But that fuel requires ignition.
Right.
in order for it to be transformed into fire. It requires heat. So
Right.
and oxygen.
So it has to depend. It's all dependently originated, but it's all still just energy at its basis.
Different energies.
No, it's all the same energy with different states.
Right.
Right. So
Different states of energy.
Right. But underlying that is this kind of universal energy that is intrinsically the same, just taking on different forms, dependently originating.
Well, you're
through
speaking of atoms at this point.
Yeah,
when you
or
say
just,
energy.
even like,
What do you
like
mean when you say energy? Because that's a
Well, whether
really
it's-
loose term.
Right. So whether
Like,
you,
what do you think when you say energy? Do you mean the components that make up everything, atoms?
Yes,
So
yes,
there's
or-
north atom, south atom, east
Right.
atom, and west atom.
or strings, or
So that
whatever it might
energy,
be.
though, has parts.
Well,
That energy, although it is the same energy, that energy has parts.
maybe we're
North,
not
south.
sure.
It at least has north, south, east, west, up, down, left, right energy. Like, you know what I mean? When you look at energy itself, if you're saying energy produces, is a producer
No,
of
not as
things.
a producer, as the underlying
The underlying.
essence of things. That there is an underlying essence to the universe of energy. There's something that started at that Big Bang, that energy point, that all that composite energy that then expanded out. And so the reason I was saying it is because it got me thinking of a question I was going to ask previously about kind of group karma, about that is there any concept of, say we all, as a species cause global warming to accelerate where we can't stop and the Earth dies off. So nothing exists anymore on this planet. The planet has died off because of our actions. Is there any such concept? It gets back to that kind of universal energy and this kind of universal karma. Is there any such concept kind of in Buddhism about that, about that we put forth these energies that have kind of a group essence, this kind of universal essence?
Well, there's
Does that
collective
ever-
karma, and that all that means is that we've collected similar karmas, so we're all grouping together in one place as a result. So we are all sitting in this room together because we have collected similar things to get us all sitting in this room together. There's some kind of collective karma that's taken place. Now, that doesn't mean that we've together collected this karma. I have individually collected a karma. You have individually have karma. She individually has a karma. It just, because of causes and conditions and things that we did that were similar, puts us all into a similar place. But that's all that that means. Like, for instance, if you have an entire, like for Tibetans, for instance, like they lost their country. That's a collective karma. They all had, each of those people had to have the karma to have that happen. Now, there may be some people who didn't suffer in any way whatsoever when that invasion happened, because they didn't have the karma to have suffering from that invasion. So they didn't necessarily have the same collective karma. Some of the people who all died when the bomb hit had a collective karma that made them all die. They had a similar causes and conditions that made it so at that time they all died. The ones that got out altogether had some sort of similar, but it's not any kind of connection like you and I made it together. It means I made it, you made it, and now we're experiencing it together because we made similar things happen. So, Rinpoche, they do. Koin Sampa they made dang shin dang the Chenripa Kelen, the Chu Kanga, Ngatsu Sukpo, dang the Teb, dang Kanga, the Duk Dandrar, the Kanga Chipa, the Kanga, the Duk Mambo Nyamdu, dene the Mota Yure, Duk Mambo Nyamdu, dene Chiran Yure, dene the Duk Ngatsu Kanga Yure, Duk the Ngama, the Tsalo Dana, the Duk Chipa, Chenripa Kelen. Then the Ju dan Chen Yon, then the the mota zudu, the ne teb zudu, the me zudu, the judan chen kakare, yene the du chipa kanga. Then kongit sampa the garshene the du, the rawan the drupa mayin. Garshene.
가르쳐.
The ngatsu kang the Chenripa kelen the lupu nyinye the kelen the du the mam du Adam the ming du then the mambo nyamdu shana meyure mambo shana debure mambo shana mota yure then the du chi Chenripa kelen du the chipa Yene judan chen, then they do tebzudu, they do zugudu. Yene do chipa, kaka yomare. Then they kongi chiwa, do yuna, garishene demba madrupa. Gangisene kongi sampa rawan de drupa. Gangisene du atsu kanga de du chipa. Then they do garishene rawan de drupa mayin.
Do the rawan madrupa juja karsana, do the
Less so. So if it was an independent entity, it wouldn't require a compound in order to make things. So if this energy had some sort of independence, it wouldn't require, if we are looking at collections of atoms and different causes and conditions in order for a book to come into being, or in order for a car to come into a being, or a human to come into being, or a body to come into being. The energies would have to, wouldn't require the collections of things coming together. They would be able to just be it without any kind of interference, and that would mean then there would only be one thing. If that energy was eternal, it would mean it would only be one thing. If it didn't require anything, if it had intrinsic nature, and that everything was that, it would require nothing else but itself to manifest us, cars, books. But it requires something other than itself to manifest things. That's what Rinpoche just said, extended into like a little more, but that's what he just said. Bene? So if you think of dependent origination over and over and over again, you will arrive at the fact that there's no way something intrinsically exists or has a nature that you can find the first of something, because you'll always require interdependence of some sort. But it's interesting for sure. I was curious, that's why I was trying to get the answer, because if everything is made of the same energy, and I haven't studied enough science to really, what is energy? I hear energy all the time and I don't really know what that exactly means, you know what I mean? I mean, I know atoms and forms, and there are atoms in the Abhidharma Kosha. Like Basu Bandhu talks about atoms, and there's like the cow atom and the pig atom, and they don't have good names for them, but if you look at it, and science has studied the Abhidharma, and Basu Bandhu is 100% talking about atoms and how they form, and he negates this idea that there is a final atom, because there's everything's made of atoms. So he says, well, then this is the final source. And then they get into, it requires collections. And that single atom has an up, a down, a north, a south, an east, and a west. So that atom can be broken and broken and broken and broken. And you can't find any final essence of something, because you can always say, well, that atom, okay, so this is a book. Well, this book has however many pages that come together to put it. So there's a top of the book, a bottom of the book. So when you say atom, they start to break down, well, what is an atom? Is there something smaller than an atom? There must be. Can you break an atom in half? Can you break that half in half? And then you end up with an infinite regression, I think it's called, right? Or infinite something. And so anyway, it's definitely food for thought, though. Does that answer or help? Did I miss something?
No, I was just thinking about the kind of the group karma thing. Again.
Oh, the ngatsu le, the zopa, the le yurebe,
No.
the zundu zopa group, the nyamdu, the ngatsu kanga tanda ngatsu chutsu degudu, gar shene ngatsu nyamdu ngatsu le drapudu.
Nyando de lesa yoris.
The nyamdu, the ngatsu the sacha ngama the ngatsu sacha chipa nyamdu the leka cheson then ngatsu the gegen ngam the jewa ngamo ngatsu kanga gewa the gegen chipa. Okay, so he said that I was giving examples about this collective karma and we're all here together. So does that mean that we were all in the same class together somewhere? And he said some of us were, some of us weren't. And I said, does that mean we had the same teacher? Some of us did, some of us didn't. And he said that there's some sort of karma that is similar enough to put us all here together. But it doesn't mean that we created it together. It just means that we created it and it's similar enough to put us all together.
So things that couldn't be produced by one person that take a group to produce it, like global warming.
No, yeah, it would be each person's part
In that.
And then you would, it would have to be like, they'd have to believe it and they'd have to believe they were actually harming something too. Like, so there's all of that as well. Like the person who is driving down the road that doesn't believe global warming is real isn't accumulating the same karma as someone who has chosen actively, believes global warming is real and actively chooses to drive a big SUV because I'm a human at the head of the food source and I deserve. So it's so different. There's so many different ways that each of us can create karma in relation to stuff.
Even if we all become extinct.
Well, we wouldn't though, because there's humans in other planets according to Buddhism.
Right.
Like we're like a little blip.
Yeah.
We're just like blip people. Like, you know what I mean? There's different realms and different places, and humans wouldn't become extinct. That's not possible because it would have to mean samsara emptied. Either samsara is empty, or humans aren't extinct. Those are your two options. You know what I mean? Or the last sentient being on Earth. You know what I mean? Like one of those deals. Sentient means the line of demarcation between Buddhahood and not is the 10th Bodhisattva ground. So Buddha's not a sentient being in the realm of conversation. I don't know why still to this day, because Buddha's a mind possessor. But we'll just say that sentient in Buddhism means below the 10th Bodhisattva line. So, like, there's this argument, if there's the last sentient being, who's their, teacher? How do they perform virtue? And it's that people emanate is the answer to that sentient being. So is it possible that the human realm is extinct because the last sentient being no longer has the karma to ever create a human birth again, but there's still in cyclic existence? So one could argue that. That would be as much as you could argue. Either cyclic existence is empty because everyone's a Buddha, or there's only one or two people left that no longer have karma to become a human again, for whatever reason. That would be the only way humans could become extinct in Buddhism. The Gemma, the Chenrezig Kelen, the Ngatsu, the Jikten, Ngatsu, the Mota Chembo Dandu, then Ngatsu, the Jikten Nugudu, Ngatsu, the Songkang Chembo, then Dua, Mambo, the Nanka Drogudu, the Chenrezig Kelen, the Mambo Shana, then the Lunkor Yongere, then the Sayom Yongere, then Mei Chembo Yongere, then Chenrezig Kelen, Gemma, Ngatsu Jikten, the Tsar, the Mei Yomare, me mepa. Gemma, the Lodzambaling, the Ngatsu, the Europe, America, Asia, Italy, India. Gemma, Chenripa Kelen Chikshena, mepa shagare. Then kon segadu. The shana, the Dao Ritu, Dao Ringa Yirbe. Gangin Sena the me yomare. Then Ngay segadu, the sacha genda me yure.
Did never charge one, gender gender.
The Ngay lapsang. He said, if this world here is no more, he said mepacha, which means that it becomes no more. He said that there'll be humans somewhere else. So he just said the same thing I said. I would never say anything that I didn't know 100% was what he was going to say. And I've just spent so much time, it's just been a long time, that's all. But don't ask me about tenets, or that's above my pay grade. Anybody else? Priscilla, then Stash.
Looking at that, kind of continuing this conversation, there is recent research in physics that is positing that the universe itself is conscious.
Yeah, I've seen this.
And
Yeah.
then the next step, perhaps the universe is consciousness, we have been discussing. And I'm wondering if Rinpoche can comment on this in light of our present study.
Yeah, it's wrong. The universe, I mean, there are sentient beings that are conscious, but the universe itself, Rinpoche, the Senripa Sarpa, Kelen, the Ngatsu, the Dawa, dang Kama, dang Nanka, dang the Kanga, Sheba Yure. The Nyune, Sheba Yure. The Nank.
Kangala Shin Sheba Yosamaras. Shinla. Junshi Senden and Digamaras.
Less so. The Shin, dang Metu, dang Lanka, dang Dawa, the Kanga, Sheba Yure.
Sheba Yomaras.
Then the Garshene Sheba Yomare. The Nanka Garshene, the Dawa Garshene Sheba Yomare.
Shin Sheba Yona, Shil Tres Joba in a Nasa Tangamudo.
The Nagadu. The Detsidana. So then Detsi Nagadu. The Na. The Shin, the Pak here. The Pak Kashe Shana. Then the Shin. Then the Gyanla. Detsi Shegadu. The Datayan. The Data. The Ma. The Shin Ma Yuna. Sansan.
No, the cool toward the water doing a Yomaras.
So Rinpoche is saying that the universe isn't conscious, that trees aren't conscious. Buddhism negates all this. It's actually posited by one of the ancient schools that the moon is conscious, the stars are conscious, that the planets are conscious. So there's an assertion of ancient Indian schools that everything is consciousness. It's like almost like the Om, the eternal Om is everything is consciousness. And Rinpoche just said that a tree can be harmed when you remove its bark because of cause and effect, but it doesn't get sick, it doesn't think, it doesn't feel happiness and feel suffering. It just is a victim of cause and effect, whereas if you remove part of this, then it means that it can't get water to part of that, so therefore this other thing suffers in terms of its ability to grow. So, because I said to him, he said, if you cut part of a tree, it doesn't get sick. And I said, let's be careful with that because it kind of does, but not sick like Rinpoche is, like Buddhism explains. It harms it. I said it does. And then he said, it's merely cause and effect. It's removing some part of its interdependence that is required for it to grow in a healthy way. So anyway, so I don't know. Sash. There's something else out there too that's new, a new thought. There's a new one. What's the other new one that?
Trees have heartbeats.
No, that we're simultaneous. Oh yeah, we're just a program. Like 99% sure we're just a program running.
This
Yeah.
is a follow-up to.
We're not, if it's any consolation.
Are you sure?
Just believe that I believe.
Would it follow
That's what all
that?
psychos say.
Would it follow like global warming and the increase of disease and famine and the decline of ethical behavior falls into the fact that we're in the degenerate times and things in general are on the decline?
Rinpoche, the Tanda, the times. The Dut Sansan, the Zambaling Sheda Yapodu, Gewa Mambo Yure. Sansan Gewa Yomare, Dungyao Mambo Yure. Sansan Se Rimbo Yure, Sansan Se Tuntun Yure. The Ngama Sanje Yure, the Ngatsu Sanje Tuntudu. Tengsang Ngatsu Sanje Tuntugumare. Tengsang the Me Mambo, Me Gewa Sagadu. The Me Mambo Menda, the Me Segdu, the Ngatsu, the Arila, the Me Nyomba Mambo Mendanyo, the Me Segdu, Me Mambo Segdu. Then the Jutsen Garere, the Du Yapayo Mare Chikshena, Ngama Yapudu, Tanda Yapayo Mare, the Dutsu, Jutsen, the Ngatsu Dutsu. Garisheneng, the Puke Yapayo Mare. Le. The ne, the Tengsang Le Yapo, Le Yapio Mare. Then they Gemma, the Tanda Yar Yomare. Ngama Sanjay Du, Gewa Mambo Yure. Tanda Gewa Nyua. The Lo Jan Gemma Gewa Moa Nyua. Lo ja Gemma. The Gangesina the Gewa. The chun. Then they Yanger Chembosha. The Nyone.
다 제마 가서 간다 용 단다 시토 말았어. 마음도 또 봐마이 텔라 트리비에이션스. 마음은 내수 다 줘야 갈리카브레스.
Leso. You know, this Sanjay K. Len did Dutsu Kashe Kakare.
나래.
Did Zambaling Gewa Mambo Yuna, did Dutsu Yapo. Did Zambaling Gewa Mambo Mena, did Dutsu Ducha. Did Mingare Puke. Mingare. Did Sansan, the Zambaling Gewa Mambo Yure. Did Sanjay Yure, Ngatsu Sanjay Tuntogudu. Then the Dutsu Dute, the Gewa Dutsu. Then they Tanda Ngatsu Sanjay Tuntugumare. Then they Gewa Dutsu Yomare. The Mingare Puke. The Napo, the Dutsu Napo. NGK Dutsu Napo. Dutsu Napo.
소나 첨부.
The
소나 첨부 뒤서 사제 신지야라 소거든 요로. 근데 어때 소나 총을 뒤서 어때 소제제 두고 말어.
Gangyusin, the Bechenge Losung. The Lo Ja, then Lo Guchu, then Lo Jechu, Dunju, then they Lo Nga make me Shigare. Then they Yanger, the
좁아. 로쫄 마셔.
then they the Yanger, more. The Mingare, Dutsu.
개바 양디 담아디 서로다.
The Kalpa, the Yar,
개바 야 페다 만디
Tanda Gare,
만디도.
Maje.
소제 만디.
Okay. So yes, we are in degenerate times. So we are in the ages where as time goes on, it's going to get worse and worse in terms of degeneration, and the length of lifespan will actually start to decrease. That's the sign that it's actually starting to turn around. It will go down to 10 years of age will be the full length of a human lifespan. And then it will turn into a good age, because there's degenerate age, and then there's an age of increase or something. It's one that's going down and one that's going up. So once the human race, or whatever, human realm gets to the point where people only live to be 10 years old, then there's some switch. This is a prophecy of the Buddha. Then there's some switch that'll take place, and virtue will increase. And all of this is a result of the lack of merit, or that the human realm beings who are born into it have. So it all has to do with lack of merit collectively. So there is collective there in that case. You see an entire collection of beings that can only live to be 10 because of they collectively don't have enough merit to live longer than that. But they still have individually done that to themselves. And it's just been a time where enough of this has happened, according to the Buddhas, a Buddhist prophecy of this. So right now we're going down, but we will go up. Now you're saying it seems like we're living longer, but when we say going down, it means like maybe in 100,000 years we'll live like to 70 instead of 80 or 90. You know what I mean? It's like a blip kind of stuff. Like even though in our little world it seems like people are living longer, we're still in this downward decline. And it might, like with global warming, you could see something happen really quick that would make lifespan not be 100 or so anymore. So just all thought. But yes, to answer your question, we are in the dark time, degenerate time, and there is more non-virtue in the world than there was during the time of Buddha, but there's more virtue in the world than there will be in the future. So it can be looked at in two ways. We are in a degenerate time, but it's going to be worse. So we're in a time that is better than it's going to be. And when the times are good, like at the time of Buddha was considered, I think it started to go down when Buddha passed, something like that. You'll have to look into it because that doesn't help me day to day. So I don't study too far into it. But the decline started after Buddha because human beings had the merit collectively to be able to see, or some did at least, to be able to actually see a Buddha, see a physical Buddha. We don't have the karma now to be able to see anything other than pictures or our teachers or some beings who have realized something and have had more of an experience than that. But during the time of Buddha, people could actually see Buddha. Now, there were some that saw him as an awful being and didn't have the karma to see him as a Buddha, didn't see all of the wonderful things. But now it's said that we don't have the karma collectively to have a Buddha come into this world and all see him or her. And that's why Maitreya is the next Buddha that comes. Not that there aren't Buddhas here now, because there are. We just don't have the karma to be able to see them because we're in this degenerate collective time. So that's nice. And then we'll do one more real quick. Yeah. Dan's got one more question. And then that's it. Because we're getting real close to enlightenment, and I need something to do next Sunday.
Rinpoche, my question is about understanding how, if it's possible that emptiness and reflection on emptiness can improve or increase one's cultivation of compassion and love, because to me it seems that to remove the obstacles that are removing ignorance and removing our ego, or attachment to our ego, allows us to overcome the obstacles to cultivating love and compassion. So I would be curious to know.
That's the answer. That's the answer. You just answered it in your question. Yes. So you're not grasping at a true existence self, so it's easier to think about someone else.
Right.
And not become so attached to everything else that's happening because you know it's not real.
So then, I guess that's like, okay. So on a grosser level, I'd say that it's like emptiness of person would obviously be a way to improve your ability to love others. But then also, I feel like emptiness of phenomena might also have a way to improve one's ability to have love as well. I guess that's where I'm going. It's like kind of like a subtler level of realizing emptiness, that how that applies to a cultivation of love.
Well, you're not attached to everything around you, so you can. Rinpoche, garshane de doni dopi sherap the yuna, the beche kashe the doni dopi sherap the semche pentogudu, the ninji pentogudu, then the ngatsu the ran chenzing pen the nugudu. Garshane. Lesso. The datayan lesso. Lesso. More. Lesso. So when we have this grasping at things as being truly established, the thing that we grasp at the most is what's closest to us, and that's the I. So we grasp at this I as being truly established, and then as a result of that, we have a self-cherishing attitude that doesn't cherish others. And when we remove that ignorance that believes that we are truly existent, then it tends to lessen that self-cherishing attitude. It allows you to see the downfalls of that self-cherishing attitude in an objective way, and then transform it to what is beneficial to you after analysis, which is a mind that is focused on others' well-being as opposed to just focusing on your own. So that is how the understanding of the nature of reality and of emptiness complements one's practice of compassion or bodhicitta, because it allows you to remove that grasping at yourself, which allows that self-cherishing, because there's no self to cherish if you remove that grasping at it. There's this I is an illusion. You're cherishing an illusion. So then you then switch it, and you do realize that other is an illusion, but the other doesn't realize they are an illusion, so they're suffering. And so that enhances your compassion for other, because you realize that what you've realized and understand, they don't. And then the removal of the distractions of other phenomena, such as nice cars, that you may be attracted to or attached to, that make it harder to cherish others. And it all goes back to, but if you get rid of that self-grasping, it usually kind of takes care of. Once you have the emptiness of one, you have the emptiness of all, is what Aryadeva said, I think, in 400 verses. The jipja, the doni chik, the shena doni kanga, the shigdu, the jipja, bechagare, the doni chik shena doni kanga shingdu, jipja. The jipja. Yeah, it's in the Aryadeva's 400 verses that once you know the nature of one, you know the nature of all. So in answering your phenomena, you know that lack of self-existence and then other existence is the same. There isn't any new formula. It's dependent origination. Okay. Concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. Tu Chenrezig Shera Pentoludu. Glasses. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. Dedicate all the virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular, the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri, and likewise Samantabhadra as well, with whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times. I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. in the heavenly realms, surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso may stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, the spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Suji Rimchi Kutsi Shapi Denrona.
야,
And Su Lamrim Chemo Langan Chemo Kangachirona.
달라라 지금 가서 베이징에 쇼가 가질 한.
The Dunja